Let's have a look at gold, for example. They manipulate the gold, definitely. We all know that. But what do you think? Is there any possibility that gold can lose in the 2020s? Is there, for example, perhaps there will be a deflationary shock or deflationary bust? What do you think? Will we see a deflationary bust like in 2000?
Yeah, that's a great question. I've thought about it a lot. I mean, so what do you want to hold in deflation, right? I mean, deflation
Cash.
implies prices. Yeah, exactly. Cash. What is gold? Gold is cash. It's
Real
cash that can't be. It's cash that can't be printed.
Yeah.
So in the 30s, gold purchasing. Of course, they grabbed it from everybody and then they revalued it. But the point is, gold will do extremely well in deflation because it has no counterparty risk and it can't go bankrupt.
Yeah.
And so on a relative basis, if the price of gold stays flat and the price of everything else falls, well, then gold has increased your purchasing power. So I don't see how gold doesn't work even in a deflationary outcome. And yet I also realize that in a deflationary outcome, the price, I mean, a deflationary outcome is going to be an unmitigated disaster. It's going to make the Great Depression look like a walk in the park. And I don't think they're going to do that. I think that if we have that, then, I mean, and maybe we go from right there to a gold standard, who knows? But I think that if things are collapsing, they will increase the printing. They'll run the printer harder. And because that's all they really know. And that's always been their pattern. So I suspect that look, we should have deflation. I mean, technology is becoming more efficient. I mean, there's some great folks who've done a lot of work on this, and there are reasons. And by the way, that's the other thing. I find it hysterical that the Fed thinks deflation is a bad thing. Deflation is a great thing. Yeah. Deflation that we had from the founding of the United States all the way until the early 1900s. And were there some financial ups and downs? Of course there were, but they got solved very quickly. I mean, deflation means your money buys more, and it rewards savers. It rewards productivity. Inflation is theft. Inflation is the other side, of it. I mean, the whole notion, that the Fed sits there and says, well, we don't have enough inflation. Oh, you mean we're not stealing enough from poor people by raising their prices? Gee, that's real nice of you. So I don't worry about a deflationary outcome. One, because I know that even if we had one, I think gold would perform well. But secondly, I don't worry about it because I don't think that the people in control of the situation want to go there, because they know that that's going to lead to widespread bankruptcy, misery, etc. I mean, unless they have some great plan to take over the whole world. And I know there are a lot of people who think this is all part of some master plan to enslave us all. And it could be, but honestly, I don't have that big a tinfoil hat. I think it's actually just a bunch of stupid people believing their own bullshit. I think you got a bunch of academics. I heard from a friend that Jay Powell won some award from all the Princeton alumni for being the greatest Princeton alumni in the past year in terms of helping the world. That he had done more to help the world than anybody else in the last year. Following the COVID crisis. I thought to myself, what are these folks thinking? I mean, they believe their own bullshit. They just completely believe their own bullshit. And I suppose if your goal is to keep the system going, then you would come to that conclusion, because he has kept the system going. Yeah. What they fail to consider are, what is always wrong with so many economists, they just don't consider the externalities. That yes, okay, the system is still going, but the people at the low end of the spectrum can't afford food.
They lose,
because food costs have gone up a lot, and that literally everybody is getting squeezed, in terms of inflation. And if you've got a 9-figure net worth like Jay Powell, you don't notice the fact that your grocery bill is doubled or tripled. The rest of us do. Yeah. The rest of us do, and we care. Yeah. And so we're paying for their policy mistakes over and over and over again. It's been going on for years and years. And that's why sound money is such an important thing.
How can the viewers protect themselves? What to do? Because we all know they will print more money. With the next crisis, they will do a bailout again. We have to pay for it. They will take taxpayers' money and do stupid stuff, fiscal packages, MMT checks and everything, all the stupidity at once. And how can people protect their purchasing power, their wealth against this insanity?
Yeah, so I'm not legally allowed to give investment advice. So this isn't investment advice. But I'll tell you what I'm doing. Okay, I got a lot of silver coins, a lot, and cool. And whenever I get any more, excess money, I think, I'll just buy a few more silver coins. So I think silver coins are great, and I got a lot of gold coins too. Those are great too, and I got a lot of Bitcoin, because I think Bitcoin Bitcoin's a really interesting bet, right? I mean, it's not only a form of sound money or an emerging form of sound money. And I know hardcore gold people say it's not, but
what do you
yeah.
think? Will Bitcoin in the future, will it be a currency? Will it fix the world as well, or will we see just a gold standard?
Yeah. So my view is that Bitcoin has a very big role to play in the future. It's very important. I'm not, I went to the Bitcoin conference in Miami. I have a lot of respect for the intelligence of Michael Saylor. I'm not in the same camp that he's in, that Bitcoin's going to instantly demonetize gold. I think over time, Bitcoin will eat into gold's market share. And I could see maybe 25 years from now when maybe it is considered digital gold and gold has less of a role to play, but it's a much longer time scale than all the Bitcoin, hornets think. Having said that, it does have some superior characteristics to gold. I mean, it's pretty hard to move $1 billion of gold with a keystroke. It's pretty hard to store $1 billion of gold without paying a lot of money in storage fees. And so forth. But I think Bitcoin has a role to play. Will it be the currency? It's going to take quite some time before it becomes a currency because of its volatility.
Before we continue, help us by smashing that YouTube like button and subscribe now to this channel. This shows the algorithm that you value the information, and it helps us spread this message. Sharing is caring. Please like and subscribe now. Thank you. And now, let's continue.
To me, what Bitcoin is right now, Bitcoin's a very interesting store of value asset. It has a store of value. It has a store of value advantage because it's limited in supply. Yeah. I mean, one thing I always used to think, well, gold is so superior to everything, and Bitcoin runs second. Well, it's interesting. I mean, gold is being mined at a rate of about 1.7% a year. We will double the amount of gold in the world in something in the low 40 years. So 40 years from now, there'll be twice as much gold in the world. In 40 years from now, there'll still only be 21 million Bitcoin.
Exactly.
So it's a deflationary asset. Yeah. So if you're looking at store of value, and if you think store of value generally goes to the thing which has the lowest stock to flow, Bitcoin's going to have the lowest stock to flow ratio of any asset in the world. Yeah. Okay. And also, Bitcoin is so Bitcoin's got two interesting things going on in my view. One, it's a store of value asset, but two, you've got this adoption curve going on, right? You got 6 billion people. Maybe you got 150 million, maybe 200 million that have some Bitcoin or that are playing around with Bitcoin. And yet that 200, that's growing. That's growing at 20 or 30% a year. So what happens when, you have a store of value asset that more and more people are adopting? Well, that's how you get a 200% compound annual rate of return, which is what Bitcoin has had since its inception, right? So it's pretty damn interesting. I mean, is it so interesting that I would go to Michael Saylor's view and say, oh, you should lever everything you've got and put it in Bitcoin? No, I think that's a hugely irresponsible statement because it's so damn volatile that if you can't carry that debt and you get blown out of it, you're going to really be in trouble. But I've often said that my belief, and I say this sincerely to all gold holders, is don't be butthurt that Bitcoin has beaten you. Okay, look at it for what it really is, and ask yourself, maybe I should join them.
Exactly.
Not in a big way. I mean, I think the only wrong Bitcoin allocation is zero, right?
Exactly.
The only wrong. So some people have 100%. I know people like that. They used to be gold bugs. Some people have 50%. In my fund, just to give you an example, we're a little under 20% Bitcoin. Yeah. And that feels right to me. Yeah, we're diversified. Gold's been around a lot longer. It's a lot less volatile. I know it's going to be here, et cetera, et cetera. But Bitcoin is a very interesting technology that's worked quite well, and adoption is going to drive its growth. And there's a limited supply. So, because of that volatility, though, it's not going to function very well as a currency. I mean, you'd have to be nuts to borrow in Bitcoin terms because the thing could go up 100%. And the amount that you borrowed, in kind of fiat would double, so to speak. So it's going to take quite some time before it becomes anything like the base money. Yeah. But it's a very interesting store of value asset, in my opinion.
You have to have it.
And it really is arguably close to being kind of a digital form of gold.
It is.
Yeah. And now, what are the potential problems with it? Well, one problem is if, the network blows up or the technology blows up, and that's always a risk. I mean, and it requires electricity to keep going. And then people say, well, the world's going to go dark and no one's going to care about Bitcoin. Okay, fine. I don't think that's really going to happen, but that's a risk. I'd say the other risk is that the governments are going to try to attack it. But if you think it through, I don't think they're going to be very successful in those attacks. They're going to try and ban it. China's done it, but people in China are still using it. Yeah. It's possible that the U.S. will try and attack it or others will try to attack it. But honestly, there was a time when they probably could have done that and pulled it off, 5 years ago.
It's over.
It's over. It's kind of out of the bag.
Yeah.
I mean, how's the U.S. going to justify? I mean, they're even saying they're going to develop their own digital currency. So
exactly.
So my way of seeing it, they've already accepted it's going to exist.
This is so. You said gold coins, silver coins, bitcoins. What else do you recommend?
Well, obviously I traffic in gold and silver stocks, right? So I mean, the problem with gold and silver coins is that obviously they don't grow; they just sit there. And if you're an equity investor, if you're looking for growth over and above the underlying growth in the monetary unit of gold or silver, the stocks are just silly cheap. And it's really amazing to me, as we talked earlier, look at how all these, Case-Shiller ratios, everything's just pegged to the top. True. And the valuations are just sky high in all the traditional financial assets, the FANGs, et cetera. If you look at gold and silver, it's just the opposite. And gold and silver miners, it's just the opposite. I mean, I have companies in my portfolio that are trading at 3 times cash flow. I have companies in my portfolio that have 40% profit margins. I mean, the gold stocks are just a compelling opportunity.
What to do in such a situation? Inform yourself and keep your financial education strong. We from the Compact Group offer our loyal subscribers a free educational portal with first-hand monetary, financial, and economic knowledge. Enter our invite-only Insider Club by clicking the link below. You will get access to first-class information far earlier than the rest. We have prepared a special deal for all our members where you can access a giant pool of Robert Kiyosaki's financial wisdom for just $1. To find out more, simply click the link below and join our Insider Club absolutely free. But there is more you can and should do. Build up several streams of income. More and more people realize that they have to take their future in their own hands, but they don't know how and where to start. We from Compact offer our Insider Club members unique opportunities. Strengthen your financial muscle and get the edge. Click the link below. Become part of our free Insider Club. No financial obligations. But there's one important thing you have to know. You have to become active. So do it now. Become active and see you on the other side.